If you're near Keosauqua, near Milton, near Cantrell, near Troy, please be in your safe place as well. We do have that severe thunderstorm warning until 3:30 for Davis County. And then we have this tornado warning now in effect for Van Buren as well as far southeastern Jefferson County until 3:45 this evening. So let's move back to our reflectivity to give you guys an idea of just what is going on with this storm. We are definitely seeing some heavy downpours associated with it and definitely some quarter-size hail as possible with the storm system as it is making its way through southeastern Iowa, at least this portion of the area. These storms are pulsing up very quickly and very intense, and they will continue to do so over the next couple of hours as we're going to continue to see these bubble up, and they're going to be pretty strong as we do have temperatures outside across the region into the 80s and 90s, and yes, dew point values into the 60s and 70s. So we have pretty much all the ingredients needed for storms to develop strong to severe storms, that is, across this portion of the tri-state. Rich will probably have some more details on that side coming up later on this evening. But as we move back down farther south, we still do have a severe thunderstorm warning. Now we have a new one for Putnam County. Hagen, do you know anything about that one?
There's also another severe thunderstorm warning for northern Jefferson County, just north of Fairfield. That's about to cross into Washington County here soon.
That one. I know we still have the one for western Sullivan County until 3:15. Now, if you're near towards like the Green City area, near towards just south of Unionville, let's move over to our Kansas City radar. Once again, we do have storms likely producing some gusty winds, heavy downpours, and some large hail inside of these cells that are moving through western Sullivan County now into south central Putnam County. These storms will be racing northeastward into southeastern Iowa here over the next few hours. If you guys have been following on, earlier this morning, all of the area was under a slight risk for severe weather. That was increased at the midday update by the SPC. Now we have a good portion of southeastern Iowa into northeast Missouri under an enhanced risk for severe weather. Most of our peak severe weather will be happening between now and about 6 o'clock this evening. After that, we're going to start to see the threat begin to diminish and really come to an end by the time we reach about 10 o'clock this evening, where we do have that severe thunderstorm watch in effect for Adair, Knox, Macon, Shelby, Lynn, and Sullivan counties until 10 o'clock this evening. Tornado watch in effect for Putnam, Schuyler, Scotland, and all of southeastern Iowa until 8 o'clock this evening. So we have a couple more hours to work through before we're dealing with some calmer conditions, as we're going to be starting off our weekend likely for Saturday with some dry conditions. That threat for storms tomorrow has pretty much went out the window, and pretty much all of your Sunday will be dry as well. But if we could take the safety precautions graphic real fast. Once again, if you are in the tornado warning area, which is portions of Van Buren County as well as Jefferson County, please be taking shelter in your basement, your innermost room, lowest floor of your home. Hopefully that is away from any windows. Take pillows, blankets, mattresses, bike helmets to protect yourself from the potential of any falling debris. If this storm does have a tornado that touches the ground, be sure to have that weather radio or some way to access weather information if you do lose power, such as our weather app, which is free for either your Apple or Android device. If you could safely do so, we love for you to send in those pictures via our Facebook page, email, or even on Chime In as well. Those are the details, and they may show up next week on one of our newscasts, as we love showing off our viewers' photos. But if you take it back to me, once again, still watching this storm cell. As you can see, the severe thunderstorm warning for Davis County has been allowed to be canceled, but we still do have this tornado warning in effect for portions of Van Buren and Jefferson County until 3:45. I'll switch back to the Davenport radar site. Once again, if you're near the Keosauqua area, pretty much if you are north of Highway 2, near Lebanon, near Milton, pretty much you guys need to be in your safe place right now, as we are looking at a very strong storm moving through. Not the best indication of rotation with the storm as of now, but it's continuing to make its way northeastward at about 35 miles per hour through Van Buren County, and it's going to be heading into southeastern Jefferson County here probably in the next hour or so. Hagen, do we have details on that severe thunderstorm warning in northern Jefferson County? How long does that one go to?
I believe it is 3:45 p.m.
Okay. Same time frame, just severe thunderstorm warning. That one is quickly moving out of our viewing area. But do we have any, obviously this has some hail inside of it. Do we know the storm motion speed with that storm cell?
The one in Jefferson County?
Yep.
They mentioned hail up to about 1.25
Okay.
inches. And the speed, it's moving at about 35
Similar
miles an hour.
similar speed to the one to the south near the Keosauqua and Birmingham area. Again, you can see these storms are traveling northeast. Portions of Henry County, I forgot to mention, are under this tornado warning as well. So if you are just west of Mount Pleasant, please be getting ready to get to your safe place as well. But right now we are focusing mainly on Van Buren and Jefferson County, as that is where most of the storm cell that we are watching right now is impacting our viewing area. But it will be moving into Henry County here quickly, as well as into central Jefferson County here quickly. So right around the Fairfield, you guys look to be in a bubble right now, but we're looking at some storms moving into the city of Fairfield here quickly. I'm going to take a expanded view, show you what's going on. As you travel southwest, even towards the Kansas City metro area, these are where those storms are firing off up to the north into northeastern Iowa, where they saw tons of rainfall earlier this morning. They are dealing with some strong to severe storms as well. So we're not the only ones in this, folks, as pretty much a good portion of the Midwest is dealing with severe weather on this Friday afternoon. Where we don't have any colors, that is where our tornado watch is, pretty much south of I-80 down to right along Highway 136. Is where we have a tornado watch in effect now until 8 o'clock this evening. But again, as we have this expanded view right now, all it took was one storm cell north of Lancaster really exploding, and then it moved into southeastern Iowa, and we ended up having a tornado warning, as you see on our radar loop, and Wapello as well as already into Jefferson County. And now we have another one for portions of Van Buren and Jefferson counties. But we have a couple more severe thunderstorm warnings down at Putnam and Sullivan counties. Wouldn't it be shocking to see some severe thunderstorms start to roll into portions of Schuyler and Adair County along with Lynn County here fairly soon, as these storms are really bubbling up over towards the Trent and Chillicothe. And as you head southwest, more towards right along I-35 into north central Missouri. So I'll switch back to the Kansas City radar site real quick to give you guys an indication of what's going on more towards Missouri side of things. Again, we do have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings that we're keeping a close eye on, but the primary reason why we are interrupting regular scheduled programming right now is due to the fact that the storm cell right around Keosauqua now that does have the capability of possibly producing a tornado. So please be in your safe place. Please be hopefully in a safe place that is without any windows. Take those pillows, blankets, mattresses, bike helmets to protect yourself from the potential of any debris, and be sure to have the weather radio powered up and ready to go, as we are looking at potentially several more instances of tornado warnings over the next few hours. But taking a look at our sky cams above me, if we could take the Fairfield sky cam, that would be pretty cool. So as you can see, we have just off to the east, we have really dark clouds, but we don't have the best view of any rotation from Fairfield. That's because down toward, what are you going to say, Hagen?
The velocity from Davenport
Okay,
on that storm north of Fairfield.
If we could take
got
Hagen's
a little bit
graphic.
of rotation, but it's still severe thunderstorm warned, but still got some greens and reds butted up right up next to each other. So we're going to have to be monitoring that pretty closely. But as of right now, the storm just to the south is the one with primary attention to it. And up until the National Weather Service looks into that storm just north of Fairfield more closely.
Yep, and as you see from that picture right there, we do have a nice couplet still to the southwest of Keosauqua. So once again, if you are in Van Buren County, especially near the Keosauqua area, that is where you definitely need to be having yourself in your safe place at this time, and definitely have many ways to receive weather information in case you go without power due to this storm cell making its way through the area right now. But I'll switch back to our Davenport radar. Again, we got this tornado warning in effect for mostly Van Buren County at this time. It is traveling northeastward at 35 miles per hour. Tornado indicated, radar indicator rotation, as well as quarter-size hail is possible out of the storm cell. A little bit larger size hail possible out of the severe thunderstorm warning in far northeastern Jefferson County, which is making its way towards Washington County, out of our viewing area, more towards our sister station up towards eastern Iowa if you want to check out on what's going on with that storm cell. But again, then down towards northeast Missouri, we have these storms bubbling up, beginning to really move into Putnam County around the Unionville area. Nothing yet on our eastern counties such as Scotland, Knox, Clark, Shelby, and that one's eluding me, but Rich will let you guys know about that one coming up later on this evening. But anyway, we do have these storms moving in. Still watching this storm cell and are in and around Keosauqua. As you can see, the tornado cell, tornado warning polygon has shrunken. That's another saying that we forgot to mention. Respect the polygon, especially on a day like today. As you can see, it's pretty much just covering Van Buren County right now, solely around the Keosauqua area. We're going to continue to see this storm move northeastward at about 35 miles per hour. Excuse me. And then it is pretty much moving into your Kilbourne area near Mount Zion. Really, right now, if you are in Lebanon, I hope you are in your safe place right now as we are dealing with a pretty strong storm making its way through that community and the tri-state. And then we're going to continue to see these move northeastward across southeastern Iowa, especially Van Buren County at this time over the next about 30 minutes or so until this tornado warning is expired, or if the National Weather Service goes ahead and cancels it after the steep rotation go away, which is starting to happen. As we see, we are not looking at that purple and pink anymore inside of the sail. That's a good indication that it's starting to weaken a little bit as these storms become a little bit more elevated. But once again, what do you have to say, Hagen?
There's some of the reds and greens in the velocity are starting to collect just a little bit, just south of Lebanon.
Okay.
Going to see if that's actually check to see if that's an open air or not, but it does appear to be a little bit attached to that storm. So be interesting to see if we have any law enforcement down there, storm chasers, storm spotters down in the area, see if they have a wall cloud, which I have not seen anything from our National Weather Service chat as of right now. But yes, we're still going to be monitoring that pretty closely.
So we're going to continue to watch it over the next 30 to 45 minutes as this tornado warning continues to go on. I'll get rid of the circle where the rotation has been indicated, but once again, tornado warning for Van Buren, portions of Henry County now, as well as Jefferson County until 3:45 this evening. Still on the doorstep of Mount Pleasant yet, but especially if you're around the Lebanon and Keosauqua area, please be in your safe place right now as we're dealing with potentially a dangerous situation across this portion of southeastern Iowa. Taking an expanded view of what we have going on across the whole area. Again, we do have a tornado watch in effect for our far northern counties of northeast Missouri, as well as all of southeastern Iowa until 8 o'clock this evening. The pinks indicate a severe thunderstorm warning, severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock this evening for those counties in northeast Missouri and heading into western Illinois, especially if you're around the Quincy and Hannibal area. We do have that severe thunderstorm watch right now until 10 o'clock this evening. But I will switch back to the Kansas City site to give you guys an indication about what's going on towards Sullivan and Putnam County at this time. Still looking at some robust storm development. That storm is starting to make its way into northern Sullivan County, especially if you're near the Green City area, near even into Unionville, just south of that, near Galt, near Milan. You guys are still dealing with a severe thunderstorm warning at this time. So yes, we're looking at some heavy rainfall with those. Some gusty winds, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts are possible, and some quarter-size in diameter hailstones are possible with those storms as they're working through that portion of northeast Missouri at this time. But again, we're interrupting Dr. Phil on KTVO ABC due to the fact that we have a tornado warning in effect for Van Buren County, as well as portions of Henry and Jefferson County. Looks solely to be just for Van Buren County at this time as that polygon continues to decrease. We still have good indication of some strong storm potential around Keosauqua, some hail, and yes, okay, let's take the Fairfield. It's very faint, but you guys see like the pixels coming through on your screen. That is some hail, very small hail, but again, it's potentially up to a quarter size in diameter hailstones coming down. So again, if you have any pictures you'd like to share with us, feel free to send them over to us on our Facebook, email us, or head on over to our website, click on the Chime In tab, upload them, and we can showcase those on air later on this evening or, of course, over the upcoming weekend. But again, tornado warning still in effect for this portion of southeastern Iowa until 3:45 this afternoon. But we are looking at still more storm development to take place over the next about 3 to 4 hours. As we take an expanded view, we have much more storm systems, storm cells beginning to fire up as we head southwestward near the Kansas City metro area. These are making their way northeastward at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So not the quickest moving storm cells, but especially as we get closer and closer to sunset, that's when we're going to start to see our severe weather threat come to an end, as we're going to start to lose that energy that we have in the atmosphere right now. But especially around these areas that are dealing with the storms right now, they are starting to see the impacts of what could happen on a day like today. But if you're not seeing the storms yet, you probably will over the next, about 8 to 10 hours. But then looking forward to this weekend, we are looking at a little bit of a break from the high heat and humidity that we've been dealing with for the past 48 hours across the region. But again, this is not the only area that's dealing with severe weather at this time. Heading north of I-80, we do have tons of severe thunderstorm warnings, severe thunderstorm watches, and even a couple tornado warnings impacting that portion of the Hawkeye State. Down towards the St. Louis area, starting to see some storm formation as well. So definitely, if you are traveling over towards our KHQA side, be sure to tune in to Rich's and Tagan's updates on the storms that'll be firing up across that portion of the area later on this evening into tonight. But once again, we do have this tornado warning in effect until 3:45 this evening for portions of Van Buren County at this time, near the Keosauqua area, near Milton, just left Milton. I'll move back to Davenport, go back to our velocity. Sure. Yeah, we have here is video via Jessica Lynn of Scotland County of this storm cell that was in Scotland County about an hour ago. Now it's the same storm cell that is in Van Buren County. You can kind of see where the rotation of this storm cell was at once upon a time, and now it has led to this tornado warning for portions of Van Buren County. So thank you, Jessica, for sending that in, and hopefully if you have videos or pictures you'd like to share with us, we would love to get those viewer photos or videos sent to us. Add some things to our showcase, our weather potential here at the studio. But otherwise, it still have this tornado warning in effect until 3:45 for portions of Van Buren County, moving northward into Jefferson County. Far northeastern Jefferson County, that's where we do have that severe thunderstorm warning until 3:45. Again, primary concern with that is for some large hail and some gusty winds. But as you can see, it is weakening as I'm speaking. I'll just double check that I'm on the right radar site. Yep. So we are starting to see some indication of these storms weakening across southeastern Iowa. But as we travel southwestward, we are not done, folks, as we're looking at some storms still bubbling up in northeast Missouri that will be tracking into southeastern Iowa here in the next couple of hours or so. So again, we're looking at the prime time frame of severe weather being between now and about 6 o'clock this evening. And then we're going to be starting to see these become more of a linear setup, which means we're looking at it transitioning more to a strong wind event. But another thing I forgot to allude to, across all of southeastern Iowa, there is a flood watch right now in effect until 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. Some of these storms could produce some very heavy rainfall. We're talking about some isolated areas across that portion of the tri-state, seeing upwards of 2 inches of rainfall. So don't forget the saying, turn around, don't drown, or when in doubt, choose a different route. Especially, we are looking at the heavy rainfall really impacting us as we get past sunset. And that makes some treacherous travel when you're dealing with downpours at night. So please remember the saying, turn around, don't drown, especially if you have any travel plans for later on this evening and to tonight. But again, tornado warning right now until 3:45 for Van Buren County is impacting the Keosauqua community at this time. So definitely be in your safe place at this time. It is going to be moving towards Mount Zion here fairly quickly. And then it's going to be making its way into the Pierceville, Utica, Vernon, Bonaparte area here in the next probably 20 to 30 minutes as well. Again, moving in northeast, 35 miles per hour with radar indicator rotation, as well as 60 mile per hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail possible with the storm cell as it's working way through southeastern Iowa on this Friday afternoon. But Again, this is also in the area where we do have that level 3 enhanced risk for severe weather at this time. We are pretty much in the prime time frame, folks. So that's I've talked a lot right now. Hagen, do you have anything to add?
As of right now, the National Weather Service is they're monitoring some storm chasers working their way into that Van Buren County storm, because as of right now they have no ground reports. So they're going to be relaying some ground info on that particular storm. But that one in Van Buren County had some pretty decent scans. Like past couple of scans, that rotation tightened, but as of right now, it does starting to broaden out at least a little, at least somewhat, and some of that rotation is starting to get in more into open air instead of actually into the storm. So good news all around, at least on that one, but we'll be waiting to see if they're going to allow this tornado warning to expire or until they get some ground reports from this storm.
Okay. And then I had someone in my ear tell me that we have video from Fairfield, but that storm looks to be weakening. But as you see, as our storm chaser is on the highway through Fairfield, I believe that's probably 34. We are looking at some heavy rainfall at this time, and he's pulling off heading towards the Fairfield and Keosauqua exit on that road. So definitely be careful if you're driving across southeastern Iowa this afternoon, as we are dealing with some heavy downpours, even with non-severe thunderstorms at this time. So again, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of Jefferson County until 3:45 this evening. But again, we do have that tornado warning in effect until 3:45 this evening, this afternoon for Van Buren County. So we are looking at these storm cells continuing to bubble up over the next few hours, potentially leading to a couple more tornado warnings here during the evening hours. So just stay tuned to us on air and definitely on our social media sites to see the latest updates, as well as our website. But then we are going to be eventually turning our attention to primarily a damaging wind threat and heavy rainfall threat as these storms progress and expand southeastward. As they expand southeastward, they're going to be moving into a weaker environment. Thus, the tornado threat will be going down, but then we're going to be seeing that wind threat start to go up across the region. But still looking at this storm cell and Van Buren County, the polygon continues to decrease in Van Buren County. Now it's starting to move into portions of Henry County, especially around the Utica area. Not going to get close to Mount Pleasant. It looks like it's continuing to weaken, becoming more and more small, very less defined rotation in that storm cell. But still, there's still enough of some radar indicator rotation for this warning to continue for the next about 20 to 25 minutes. But again, just heading north of Fairfield, we still do have that severe thunderstorm warning, which is pretty much almost out of Jefferson County at this time. If you're near the Germanville, just to the northwest of that community, that's where we're dealing with some strong storms right now, especially some large hail, gusty winds, and some heavy downpours. Yeah, Hagen.
They have some spotters near the area, including some emergency management. They're still seeing some rotation, at least aloft in that storm.
Okay,
so
I'll head back.
We'll now have some ground spotters to further clarify some of the information with this storm, because this is in a little bit of a radar hole in deep southeast Iowa.
It's based off of our storm relative velocity. Not seeing the best picture, but if we still have some indications of elevated rotation, that's good enough probably for the National Weather Service to hold on to this warning for the next about 20 to 25 minutes. So again, just stay in your safe place if you're in this portion of Van Buren County, as well as Henry and Jefferson County. So be in your basement, your innermost room of your home. Hopefully that does not have any windows. Take your pillows, blankets, mattresses, bike helmets, have the weather radio ready to go. I talk about this all the time when I'm at school visits around the area. This is something that's no joke, folks. You definitely want to have all those items with you, and you want to have that weather radio with you, and have your cell phone fully charged in case you go without power for any certain amount of time. Again, another useful tool is our weather app. Be sure to download it. It's free for either your Android or Apple devices, and it's going to be giving you a lot of alerts probably this evening and into the overnight hours. And then definitely have the weather radio on, have access to the National Weather Service and our social media pages. So we'll continue to update those on our KTVO Facebook and X accounts. But if you have any pictures, also be sure to share those with us here at the station as well. But again, not seeing the best rotation in this storm in Van Buren County, but still not a lot to say about that in regards to if it's going to be canceled. National Weather Service out of the Quad Cities still believes there's enough rotation and still enough indication that this warning needs to continue. So we're going to hold on for a few more minutes, continue to monitor this situation. But again, we do have a couple more severe thunderstorm warnings down towards northeast Missouri into the Putnam and Sullivan County areas. So especially around the Pollock area, Lemons, and Unionville, you guys are on the doorstep of potentially seeing some strong storms at this time. That severe thunderstorm warning for Sullivan County has been allowed to expire. That expired at 3:15. We do have this other one for portions of Sullivan and Putnam County now until 3:45 this afternoon, I believe. Green City, you guys are just on the outside of that polygon, but you're probably dealing with a strong storm at this time as well. Now heading over towards the Galt and Lindley area, even into Cora. You guys are going to be seeing some strong storms move here into those communities here in the next probably hour or less. Mystic, probably going to be seeing some pretty cool cloud formations, not dealing with any rain at this time. And we do start to see some showers of storms beginning to bubble up into far northwestern Macon County. Those will be probably crossing into Adair County here fairly soon. So it's not going to take much for storms to really bubble up this afternoon. We have a prime environment. We have temperatures in the 80s and 90s, dew point values in the 60s and 70s. So yes, it did not take much for pretty much Mother Nature to wring out her rag today, as it was pretty juicy out there across the area for these storms to easily form, and boy did they today. So we do have that severe thunderstorm watch in effect for a good portion of northeast Missouri until 10 o'clock this evening. And then further north for Putnam, Schuyler, and Scotland counties in northeast Missouri, and then all of southeastern Iowa, a tornado watch in effect until 8 o'clock this evening. For southeastern Iowa, a flood watch in effect until 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. So these storms right now may not be producing a lot of rainfall, but during the overnight hours, we are anticipating some very heavy downpours to be associated with these storms as they're making their way through our area. So heading back to Van Buren County to give another look at that. I'll move back to the Davenport radar. Okay.
Apparently it is still at least looking impressive visually, because there's definitely a little bit of a wall cloud going on there. I don't know if we could actually show it, but at least
probably
right here,
not, but that's a good observation that Lee County, just off to the east of this storm, is seeing some good indications that this storm still looks pretty ominous out there. But right now, no reports of it actually touching down, but again, it's still making its way through Van Buren County, eventually into portions of Jefferson and Henry County at about 35 miles per hour to the northeast. We have radar indicator rotation. We have 60 mile per hour wind gusts, and yes, some hail is possible inside of the storm cell as well. Further north, it looks like that severe thunderstorm warning, still in far northeastern Jefferson County at this time, but beginning to move out of our viewing area at this time. So still holding on for the next 20 minutes with this tornado warning impacting portions of Van Buren County, moving into far southeastern Jefferson County and portions of Henry County at this time. But once again, once it moves out of our viewing area or expires here in the next 20 minutes, we will head back to regular scheduled programming. But again, dealing with a strong storm cell into Van Buren County, and we have more storm cells exploding as we travel southwest. As you can see, we have more severe thunderstorm warnings starting to bubble up.
Severe thunderstorm warnings for Putnam and Sullivan County, there you go, has just been allowed to expire.
So right now, folks, we just have the tornado warning for around the Keosauqua, Van Buren, portions of just Van Buren County now. And then as we head north, just into very northeastern Jefferson County at this time. So again, we're just holding on to see if this rotation inside of this storm cell just north of Keosauqua is holding together. There's been reports to the National Weather Service that they've seen observations of it still looking pretty ominous in this area, but no reports of it actually touching down as of now. But again, if you are in this portion of Van Buren County, continue to stay in your safe place at this time. But again, if you're heading towards, as it heads towards Utica and Harrisburg, please be in your safe place as well, as this storm, small but mighty, is very powerful. So be sure to find your basement, innermost room that hopefully does not have any windows. Take those pillows, blankets, mattresses, bike helmets to protect yourself from any debris that may come about from this storm cell if it does reach the ground, and definitely have that weather radio ready to go with you, and hopefully it is battery powered in case you lose power during this storm. So again, it's making its way northeastward at 35 miles per hour through Van Buren County at this time. So still looking. Do you have any anything new from the Weather Service?
The Jefferson County severe thunderstorm warning has expired,
okay,
and then we'll continue the one for Washington County just off to the north.
That's out
but as of right now, nothing yet besides that one photo from the Van Buren County storm.
Okay. So it looks like there is still very faint rotation right around just north of Keosauqua. Let me zoom in to give you guys a landmark. Oops, we'll get rid of that. So around State Highway 1, that area, we do have some indications of some rotation at this time. So once again, the storm is making its way northeast at about 35 miles per hour. I put a time lapse on it. But yeah, so
I mean, that storm is right in the zone of greatest interest. Greatest interest to the National Weather Service, okay, at least in the tornado outlook that was issued out several hours ago. It was right in that area. So yes, we'll still be monitoring, and the National Weather Service will still be monitoring the situation on this one.
Okay. I'm going to head back to reflectivity and then zoom back out. Again, if you're around the Mount Zion area right now, be sure to be in your safe place. We are starting to see a little bit of a hook echo again. Not well defined, but there is still some indications of some rotation in this storm, especially around the Mount Zion area along State Highway 1 in Van Buren County. So it's making its way northeastward at about 35 miles per hour. No indications of a tornado actually reaching the ground as of now, but again, be in your safe place right now. So once again, there are those tips for you heading towards the Utica area, Stockport area here shortly. And then I'll put this back in motion. Put it back. Yeah. Sorry. Technical difficulties, folks. But again, making its way northeastward, starting to still see a little bit of a hook, but it's starting to go away once again. So it just continues to come back, goes away, comes back, goes away. So that's why we're going to be probably seeing this storm, this warning, continue for the next about 15 minutes or so. We're not clearly seeing it weaken or strengthen at this time. So continuing to monitor the situation. Again, heading farther south. This is the only warning we have in our viewing area at this time. The ones that were in Putnam and Sullivan County have been allowed to be canceled. Again, just looking at this tornado warning right now for Van Buren County. So, can't really see.
So far, there has not been any updates on.
Do we have any cool video from the control room or? Okay.
Okay.
Yep. This is one of our storm chasers heading towards the tornado warning cell in Van Buren, north of Keosauqua. So you can see we have some very heavy rainfall. No indications of any hail off this video, but definitely he's not near the best part of this storm yet, but he's heading out of Jefferson County down into Van Buren County. So definitely something to keep an eye on over the next several days. Thank you for those folks who are helping us out on the roads in southeastern Iowa. But again, we're looking at these storms continuing over the next several hours. If you haven't heard me say it before, this is the main time frame for severe weather, as we're looking at the threat starting to decrease after about 7 o'clock this evening, and then really come to an end around about 10 o'clock tonight across the region. These storms are going to explode, and they're not going to be very quick moving right now, but once we move into a more of a linear setup, more of a wind threat, that's when we're going to see some very quick moving storms move into the region. So again,
to add the heavy rain as well.
Yep.
With some of these lines of storms. Could
Yep.
see potentially some flash flooding, and we do want to point out most of southeast Iowa was under an aerial flood watch until a little bit later in the evening.
Yep. Thank you, Hagen. So once again, we do have this tornado warning now for about the next 12 minutes for Van Buren County. It's starting to make its way, starting to really not be defined anymore. We're starting to just see a discrete storm cell, but no really hook echo in it anymore. Just a big cluster of some heavy rain, potentially some hail and gusty winds, possibly still some radar indicator rotation, but still the storm still is strong enough that the National Weather Service out of the Quad Cities is going to continue the tornado warning for the next about 10 minutes or so. So we got this storm cell continuing to make its way northeastward at about 35 miles per hour through this portion of our region. But then as we zoom out, we still have plenty more storms that are going to be making their way into our neck of the woods over the next few hours. They're pretty much like right along a conveyor belt. That's pretty much where we have our low pressure and warm front, cold front pretty much right now. So good news is we are going to see some cooler weather move in throughout the upcoming weekend, and definitely by the end of the week, if you don't recall from this morning on my forecast. But going back, tornado warning still into Van Buren County for the next 10 minutes. Hagen, are you seeing any?
As of right now, no, it's just a bunch of scattered, very individualistic cells all throughout northeast Missouri and southeast Iowa. So I'm wondering if there's perhaps we'll discuss something about that after today. I wonder if there could be potentially any like destructive interference with some of these cells, because there's that one in Van Buren was looking a little bit impressive
now it's
several scans ago, but now it's not looking that impressive again. Like it's trying to cycle.
Yeah.
Like it's on and off when it comes to these vortex signatures.
Yeah,
so thankfully we do have some chasers near the area that'll relay some better ground info.
A little bit of thunder outside the studio here. Not the best rotation, but still the National Weather Service out of the Quad Cities still deems it strong enough for this warning to continue for about the next 10 minutes. So we're going to hold on. If I would have better confidence from my counterparts over in the Quad Cities, I may go back to regular scheduled programming, but we still have not heard anything about it weakening for sure. It continues to weaken, then strengthen, weaken, then strengthen. So we're going to hold on for the next about 10 minutes. So definitely, if you're west of Pierceville, southwest of Utica, that's where we're looking at the most intense portion of this cell making its way through Van Buren County at this time. So I'll move back to reflectivity. Yep. So once again, this is the only warning we have in effect. Besides that, we just are dealing with severe thunderstorm watches and tornado watches. Tornado watch until 8 o'clock this evening for Putnam, Schuyler, Scotland counties in northeast Missouri and all of southeastern Iowa. On top of that, we have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for Sullivan, Adair, Knox, Lynn, Shelby, and Macon counties until 10 o'clock this evening. So we're anticipating the tornado threat pretty much being between now and about 6 o'clock, and then we're going to see that transition over to a damaging wind threat afterwards, and then really that threat diminishes as we get closer and closer to 10 o'clock this evening. But once again, by no means is our area the only ones dealing with severe weather. folks to the north of us are dealing with a robust system as well, especially if you know of any family north of I-80 like I do. They're dealing with some severe thunderstorm warnings at this time and some strong storms. But then as we travel southwest, we have storms still bubbling up, and the ones that are around the Kansas City metro area are the ones that are going to be making our way here fairly soon. So again, we have about another 7 minutes on this tornado warning in Van Buren County. It is almost out of Van Buren County. So, Hagen, could you
so far, I have not seen any sort of updates from NWS Quad Cities on this one, but that is certainly subject to change within the next couple of minutes or sooner.
Okay.
So I have been communicating with them on this particular cell.
I am not seeing any rotation anymore. So,
I mean, it is.
What are you seeing?
Well, it's a little bit broadened out. At least the greens appear brighter than the reds, but maybe a little bit of proximity. But as past couple of scans, it just it does not look that impressive anymore.
Okay.
I mean, it's starting to turn more into just a little bit of a bean shape, or just like a single, like an oval shape, and doesn't have that typical shape you would see with a tornado-producing storm.
So with that being the case, with us not seeing much rotation anymore, and it's continuing to weaken, and it looks like it's going to be moving out of the counties that we would be breaking in for, I'm going to go ahead and send it back to regular scheduled programming. If your area is under a tornado warning, if you have any photos from the
Get the latest weather updates at KTVO.com and the Storm Team 3 mobile app. We now rejoin regular